every YouTube buddy! Well, thanks for tuning in to another channel update. This one is a little bit different than the others. I'm not reading from a script this time, so it's just a free-form kind of ad-lib kind of channel update. And we have a lot to talk about. So, by the way, if you don't have time to watch the whole video, you can look at the summary that I added in the description. It kind of summarizes all the points that I talk about in this video because there's a lot to discuss. But if you have time, I encourage you to listen to the whole video because I go into detail about a lot of these. Well, the first thing we could talk about is the channel updates themselves. I plan to do this every 2 weeks now because there's a lot going on the channel now. There's some projects that I'm working on, including some secret clandestine projects. So I'll drop some hints here and there about what I'm doing, but they are taking up a lot of time behind the scenes. So that's why I want to do this every 2 weeks. Now, the next thing to talk about is a new series that I'm going to start. It's not going to be a full walkthrough, but it's just going to be raw idiotic footage. So I'll probably do 10, 15 videos maybe of a new game. And I pretty much want the audience to choose which game you want me to play, but it has to be a brand new game that's being released in, the later half of July, which we're in right now, or early August, because I plan to start it in the next week or two. So tell me what you like that's coming out soon, and I'll try to make it happen. And by the way, if there's a new release coming up that you really are just dying to watch me play, and you happen to have an extra copy of it, you can let me know ahead of time if you want to sponsor me. And then if I agree to it, then I'll play, good 10, 15 videos of it, and you'll get an honorable mention in every video since you sponsored it. I purchased my new gaming rig, so I'd already bought the digital deluxe edition, which is like all the bells and whistles and the season pass and everything, so I wanted that for myself, but I knew that the rig was coming with another license. So I'm going to do a game giveaway in just 2 or 3 days, but I have to do it quickly because the license or the redemption expires at the end of this month, so July 31st. So I have to run the contest, give it away, make sure that the person who wins it can actually play the game on his or her PC and then redeem it. We have to do all of that by the 31st. So I'll run that contest. Don't worry, we'll get through it. So, and by the way, remember, if you want to join the contest, you have to make sure that you have a good gaming rig that can support Watch Dogs. Alright, so now here's an interesting reveal. I've been working on a secret Fallout project with a co-host, and this co-host has a PhD in nuclear science, so he's going to be a great resource. We're going to deliver a really cool series to you. It's going to start in just a few months. We've been working on it for a while. We're on a second draft already. We haven't done any narration yet, but that's your hint. It's going to be Fallout related to the franchise itself, and it's a nice little series that will hold us over until Fallout 4, besides just my Fallout 3 walkthrough. And that actually brings up another interesting point. I've decided to create a second Fallout 3 series. It's going to be a series in addition to my regular Fallout 3 walkthrough. If you noticed in the videos, I mentioned that I was going to do a tour of the entire capital Wasteland by zone, as it appears in the strategy guide. So I was going to start with Zone 7, which is where you would find the Dunwich building. Oh my god. And I was going to kind of weave that into the walkthrough, but I just realized, that's kind of a sloppy way to do it. Why don't I do a real tour where you have a tour guide? So I'm actually going to voice act different tour guides for each zone, and we'll do a bunch of videos that cover the entire Wasteland. So it'll probably be a good I'd say it's going to be a good 100 videos because we're going to cover every location. We're not going to do a dungeon crawl through every single location, but we're going to touch on every location and kind of talk about it and explain what it does, and I'll show you kind of like a tour guide would, just the highlights of the trip. And there's another series that I'm still working on. I started it for a while, then I stopped. It's a series that's similar to that tour of the capital Wasteland, but it's a real world tour of the city that I live in, or it's actually the island that I live on. It's called Mariner's Island, and that's what it would be called, a tour of Mariner's Island. And I split it into 9 zones, which is exactly the same way that the strategy guide split the capital Wasteland. So that should be fun. I'm still working on that. I've decided to reshoot all of my footage because now I have a 4K camera that can record in 4K resolution. So off I go to record all that footage all over again. And there's another series that I'm going to start. I've promised to do it for over a year now. I'm going to start video blogging. In other words, it'll be like a video talk show or a video podcast. Because of this nice 4K camera that I have that can shoot in 30 frames a second, I'm going to start doing that. So I'm finally comfortable on camera. I've done a couple of video blogs on like totally unrelated to gaming already, and I'm comfortable in front of the camera now, so I'm going to start doing it, finally. And lastly, there's something I wanted to bring up about YouTube features that are rolling out. And quite a few YouTubers, the bigger channels, have already touched on this. It's the 60 frames per second support that YouTube is going to roll out soon. Right now, YouTube supports up to 30 frames per second in its video player. And whether it's the Flash player or the HTML5 player. For those of us who have an HTML5 compatible browser that supports this new codec or this new format, you'll be able to start watching videos in 60 frames per second. But videos that have been deliberately uploaded in 60 frames per second. So right now I upload everything in 30, so all those old videos you're never going to see in 60 frames a second, obviously. But I have to start thinking about how I'm going to record in 60 frames per second once it's available, because it's just an awesome experience to watch videos in 60 frames a second. Certainly can't do it in 4K resolution, so I might have to pull back some of my and again, I can mention something about my advertisers. The reason I can keep going is because of the advertisements on my channel. So just support my advertisers. That's all I can say about that. Okay? And follow me on Twitter. The link to my Twitter is right in the description of this video too. Okay? We'll see you next time on the Culveyhouse channel. Thanks for watching.
What are you going to do?
Oh no, not the tornado again! Because I'm gonna do it for you. Oh, she likes that, doesn't she?